Hello, parents. Hello, children. Welcome to our Parent Education Night. Today's topic is conflict resolution, how to cultivate healthy communication. This is a huge topic, okay? And we're only going to be able to scratch the surface. We have a little surprise for you. Your students, some of your students, the tier two students, recorded examples for us. So we're very excited to present our Master Tree students actually enacting those kind of strategies that we're going to be talking about in real life. So the parent education nights have a very, very important purpose, and that is to build this bridge between what happens for you at home and what happens for us teachers at school. And the idea of whole child education is that we do this together, that we build this network of trust together, that we share with one another how we sort of handle situations and exchange that and come up with, a very individualized way of dealing with, situations that are tricky. You guys voted for conflict resolution. So I am presenting the choice for our not next, because the next parent education night will be a cooking class for all of you right before Thanksgiving. Chef Laverne, and hopefully one of your parents will join in and give you tips and tricks for Thanksgiving cooking. Anyway, so the I will present the list of topics after our presentation here real quick, and you get to vote again in the global parent education chat. All right, what are we going to talk about? Well, first of all, we're going to talk about what is conflict. Yeah, what is conflict? And maybe by changing our perspective about conflict, we can lose some of our fears and form a little bit more resilience toward, running into issues with our kids. As you all know, running into issues with your kids is a daily occurrence. So I'm going to present to you some common sort of tips and strategies. I will break them down for their developmental stages, for the age groups, because this is important. Every child is different, every family is different, every family values are different, and we're not here to tell you to change your parenting. We're just here to sort of create a common ground of things that we can try. And a lot of things are very theoretical, when you read this in child psychology books or, those YouTube videos, that have like these great tips. So we understand that a lot of that is really a moment to moment, a case to case, a child to child decision. And I just want to present a few options here that many of you are already aware of, but even us as grown-ups sometimes have difficulties following through with. But maybe by seeing sort of what it is that the kids need to learn at a certain age, it helps with understanding better what we need to focus on. Yeah, there are some ideals, and these ideals are wonderful, but it really depends on whether you're talking to a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, or an 11-year-old. Those strategies change with the age because there's certain things that your kids simply can't grasp yet at certain ages. And their needs, so what their soul needs to grow, what they need to learn, also changes with the age. So I just want to like increase the awareness for that. We're going to look at the typical conflicts at school and at home and present you these strategies, the 5 R's. Yes, another acronym. We're not really into acronyms, but it's easier to remember them. I admit that. and how important it is to set our perspective straight, the way we look at conflict. This is sort of the big goal of this parent education night, is that we understand that conflict is an immense, a huge, a tremendous opportunity to grow together and to form trust together, yeah, to cultivate better communication. And then you all received a little stone. Tier one has a little crystal stone. And for the age group of like 5 to 7, all these things are much more magical. They're less abstract. So we put a little crystal into tier one's bags and a nice round stone that you might even be able to use as a little pet stone. I'm going to give a few tips there later. So let's have a look at some of these most common conflicts that we run into with our children. And by the way, not just with our children, also with our inner children, us grown-ups. Okay, so some of these things can also apply to ourselves, all right? Depends on where we're at and what state we're in at a given time. At home, and please contribute if you have other common conflicts, but the most common conflicts at home are issues or resistance to it, the party ending. Kids don't want the party to end, no matter what it is that they're enjoying doing. They just don't like transitions. And a lot of times it's about those routines that they resist. And this isn't a defiance toward you. This is a normal thing that occurs. They just don't want the party to end. Of course, being on time, chores, homework, battles, those things, they're boundary testings, they're the fight, sort of for autonomy, for doing it themselves, for figuring it out themselves. So sometimes, we parents can get a little sort of hovery, we can get a little micromanagey with our kids. And in some cases, it's the opposite. They really sort of want to get us to that point where we just let go and let them get away with it. So again, we have to really figure this out moment or situation by situation. Um, Outbursts, meltdowns, tantrums, tears, shouting, or withdrawal when overwhelmed. Those are actually quite common at a certain age. So up until like, I would say 10, you will have this more commonly than with an older kid. And that is, really a sign that your kid doesn't know what to do. Yeah. So whenever your kid screams, cries, throws a tantrum, it means they don't know what else to do. This is really, really important that we see this. Sibling rivalry. Well, sorry to all of you guys who have multiple kids, especially if they're close in age. This will be part of that's your karma, with a big family. You're gonna have to deal with physical conflicts or with constant competition for attention. This is normal, guys. Understand it's normal. And of course, things that have to do with kindness or politeness, disrespectful tone or back talking, yeah, pushing against these parental authority rules or family values. Okay, this is a sign, a necessary development that kids have to make at a certain point in order to find their own voice. So if we just look at it as such, yeah, and don't just dismiss it or degrade it or minimize it, but without giving it too much power, right? Then there's also, a chance really to help the kids to find their voice, and then they don't need to scream. They don't need to be defiant. If they can trust that they have a voice without, domineering the family, but that they're being heard, and we're going to talk quite a bit about this today, then these kind of common conflicts go down. In the classroom, we see variations of these common conflicts, struggles over fairness, injustice, and this is not fair, and he got more. Yeah, you have this when you have siblings. If you have a single child, You don't really have this at home, and therefore you don't often don't know how to navigate this. Families with multiple kids are usually pretty good at navigating this, but at school, obviously, when they're together with, 10 other kids, there's sharing involved, there's cooperating, there's collaborating involved, there's finding compromises involved. So this is a common discussion that we have with the kids, pretty much a daily discussion. Disruptions or attention seeking, testing limits, calling out, the need for reassurance, all these things are normal, but they are, cause for conflicts in the classroom. Yeah, for the teachers, where, there's always one kid, that constantly, Miss Dolls, look at me, I'm done, look at me, my. So we call this the me monster in class, by the way. Yeah, the me monster. It's kind of like a cute thing. The kids don't take this personal. They just recognize in that moment, self-reflect that they make things all about themselves. Peer friction, teasing, excluding, and hurting feelings. That is something that, as master tree, we're kind of sensitive about. There are some things that are age appropriate, and that they have to test. And then there are some things, that are on purpose. So we make that distinction, um, whether this is compulsory or whether it's on purpose, and clarify instead. So clarification is something that a lot of us grown-ups are actually not that good at. It sounds like this. Well, what you just said, that kind of makes me feel so and so. Did you mean that? Did you want me to feel this way? Or how did you mean what you just said, instead of reacting right away? So I'm just giving you sort of like a teacher perspective here on what we're trying to establish, what we're trying to cultivate with the kids, that they actually become more aware of what it is that they're saying, that they become aware of things hurting other people's feelings, and give them a chance to retract it. Yeah, to say, hey, no, I didn't really mean it this way. What I meant to say is, yeah, so this is something that we as grown-ups can cultivate by role modeling this instead of being reactive to what the other person says. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a spiritual counselor. Yeah, that's my other day job, and this is probably the most common conflict that I see in grown-up relationships, is this missing clarification. How did you mean this? And actually giving the other person a space to retract it or to clarify it. Um, Obviously, resistance to direction, authority issues, any kind of transitioning in the classroom, going from one class to the other, putting on karate clothes, and so forth, are always moments of sort of heightened conflict. That's something that you have when you go to the car in the morning to get to school on time, etc. And a big one, and that again, especially with siblings, is competition and comparison. Yeah, this need uh, to soothe sort of the fear of inadequacy. The need sort of to be validated. So this is just yeah, basic psychology stuff, but it's also quite practical because this is what we see in the classroom. Now, here, all right, is something that I suggest that we actually. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to say here, as far as like the perspectives is concerned. I mentioned earlier that perhaps changing our perspective toward conflict can also help with easing our own feelings toward when conflicts arise. Personally, I don't know about you, time pressure is what gets to me. All right. And I don't have the whereabouts then to think about the 5 R's or stuff like that. We gotta get in the car now. You better get your shit together. Sorry for my English here, but you know what I mean, right? It's like at that point, all our sort of higher intentions also go a little bit out the window. But if we just in general lose our fear of conflicts, if we understand that conflicts are perfect opportunities for growth, yeah, for cultivating new sort of ground, okay, for things to grow. Yeah, for resilience, for empathy, and for wisdom as a family, but also as a class or whatever sort of group of people we are in. Yeah, conflict is not a bad thing, guys. It is not something that needs to be avoided. Yeah, and you see this everywhere, the word carefrontation. If you really care, you confront a person and you clarify and you say, "Hey, it's really important for me to understand how you feel about this or what you mean with this. I don't want to assume things. I don't want to just, react to something. I really want to understand what you say. Can you help me understand you?" This is something that works with kids that are a little older. Kids 5 to 7, it's okay to cultivate that, but don't expect a really sort of practical results from it. It's cultivation means that we start modeling something for the kids that they will then later pick up on. They will later sort of hear this in the back of their minds. Okay. So here, just real quick, perspectives, the role of perspectives is really about us not being afraid of a conflict and us actually, engaging with it, seeing it as an opportunity to engage. Conflict is not a breakdown. It's a doorway to deeper understanding, connection, and relationship. Every conflict reveals a new skill that wants to be learned. Conflicts are not signs of failure, they're invitations for growth. The strategies, the 5 R's, okay? So let's have a look at this real quick. Regulate. Begin with a deep breath or short moment of silence before anyone speaks. Cool down. Any kind of wise recommendation or um, tip, all right, is useless if you try to apply any kind of conflict resolution strategies as your kid is having a meltdown. Okay. Like, as a matter of fact, that can be counterproductive. Yeah. So you have to give space to breathe. This is the rule number one for us grown-ups as well. Taking a deep breath. The kids start the day at Master Tree with learning breathing techniques. They don't even realize it. It becomes the most normal thing for them. And they learn a lot about breathing and they learn how to navigate, how to uh, direct their breath through their bodies to build strong roots, yeah, to become grounded. So whatever it is that you are experiencing with your kids, you need to give them space to breathe. And this starts with you. Yeah, you are the one that needs to model this. And therefore, that's sort of the discipline that we have to have. You begin with a deep breath, or just calm, just silence. Yeah, it helps to calm down your nervous system, but also that of the kid, and it prepares the space. I think in colloquial English we call this take it down a notch. Yeah, or count till 10. Reflect. Okay, so this is geared toward the family ritual that we're gonna introduce you in a few moments, but whoever is the speaker, whoever, sort of takes charge of the situation, you know, should self-reflect, should actually ask themselves, why is this situation right now so challenging for me? Okay. And whatever it is that I am now saying, okay, needs to be truthful, needs to be honest. Yeah, we can, of course, no matter what kind of parenting style you prefer, but the point is that we reach sort of our own authenticity. Kids pick up on our pretense or fakeness in split seconds. They're specialized on it. Yeah, so reflect first. Reflect on the situation. Reflect on your own sort of problem that you have with the situation first, and then relate. Okay, so the relating part has a lot to do with compassion. So if we want our kids to become compassionate and understand how the other person feels, it has to start with us. So, in sort of communications theory, we start with acknowledging what the other person expresses, even if we disagree. This is a big deal, guys. If your kid is upset and you say, I can see that you're upset, you're not agreeing with them being upset. You're just acknowledging it because a lot of times kids scream louder or, double down because they don't feel heard. So relate, yeah, show that you're sort of on common ground here and acknowledge. You don't have to validate. You just acknowledge, okay, the state that the other person is in. And then go, into like maybe an open question and ask, I usually do this. I go into like, when I feel like this, I don't want to talk, or I'd rather want to do this or that. And I ask if that is how they're feeling. Never say, oh, you look upset, you look angry, and therefore, I have the right to be angry back. That we can't tell kids how they feel. We need to really be willing, to let them say it. This is very, very important. So stating the obvious, but without judgment, without guilt or shame, all right, and letting them, yeah, express to us how they're feeling. This builds emotional literacy and is extremely important later also for your kid's ability to form, mature empathy. And then, after whatever is, spoken out, and he did this and she did this, and this is unfair, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, you feel like this is unjust. Yes, yes. So, how could this be resolved? What do you think is more just? All right, let them just say it. You don't have to agree with anything the kids are saying. You just let them say it. And then reflect and ask them if they still want to, come up with a solution, if they still want to do it. And then always show your willingness to be open for second chances for redoing. What is it that we can do better? How can I help you? Don't try to fix things for your kids. Instead, ask them, how can I help you to make a better choice? Now, if you're talking to a 5-year-old, kids are often not able, especially in that sort of heightened emotional state, to make good choices. So we have to protect them a little bit. So this is why it's so important that we remember sort of what the goals are in these different developmental stages. And I'm not going to go through them again. We have a nice recording from our previous parent education night, but I do want to share with you how this relates to conflict resolution. And here you see, yeah, I will share the slides with you so you can look this up because it's too small of a writing. But I've broken it down, for each of the problems or common conflicts that arise at certain um, age groups. And I want to point your attention here to the lower part, to the growth opportunity. What is it that needs to be learned here, and what is sort of, what we should focus on? Yeah, and then we have the talking stones. That's the little stone that you have there is a talking stone. And we are sort of trying to inspire you to use this in your family as something that can help you in conflict situations. The only problem with the talking stones, and again here broken down for your age group, sort of what is being cultivated when you use it in the way that we suggest, is that you have to establish the talking stone in a good situation. Yeah, like every before every meal or something, and make it a positive inner experience. What are you grateful for? What are you looking forward to? What was the best thing today? You can also start your day this way, but make the talking stone sort of a sacred item that you use that can, sort of function as sort of something that the kids can take into their hands and feel safe with when they need to speak up. We're running out of time, so I no longer want to just lecture here, but I want to show you something that we use in our classrooms. In our classrooms, we use the talking stick. We weren't able to come up with like 38 talking sticks here overnight, so we gave you the talking stones. But if you want to know, the talking stick is used almost daily at school, and we pass it around so everyone who holds it, the one who holds it is the one who talks, and everybody else has to be silent. All right, so now we're moving on to the interpretation of your children. Okay. Miss Stolz is sitting next to me and will share the reenactment of Tier 2 and how they understand these conflict resolution strategies.
That's not fair. You got 2 turns on the screen. No, I didn't. You weren't even counting. Let's pause and each of you take a big breath. You first, breathe in, breathe out. Second, breathe in, breathe out. I have an idea. We can use a talking stick to share ideas to go. You can go first. Here. I felt sad when I didn't get a turn on my favorite screen. I was so sorry about that. I promise you will. I didn't know you were waiting. I wasn't trying to skip you. Thank you. There's a way that we can resolve this and we can make it fair for each other. We can use a sand timer like the old people do. Maybe not old, but a sand timer would work, especially to make a sand castle. Yeah. I go first and you go second. Okie dokie. That's a wonderful idea. You both had to repair this. For little ones, fairness is about feeling safe and seen. They learn to regulate with breath and reflect the health and restore for small agreement. Sexual liberty. You're not helping. We're doing all the work and you still get the grade. That's not true. I drew all the pixels yesterday. Let's pause and take a deep breath together. Let's start with reflect. Each of you, one at a time, will share what's unfair. I think I'm doing more work. Oh. I feel like no one notices what I do. You guys are seeing things differently, and that's okay. Let's relate. What's one thing you can appreciate about each other's work? Your drawings are good. Your writings make us look so smart. Beautiful. Now let's restore. What can we change to make the project feel fair? We can each choose a part that we're in charge of. And then we can check out before turning it in. Middle grade students are learning fairness as balance and contribution. They begin to redeem conflict by discovering to respect effort, not just result. Hey, you used all the paint. No, I didn't. You're always blaming me for everything. I can see you're both upset. Let's pause for a moment and take a deep breath. First, we regulate. We take a breath and calm our bodies. When we're calm, we can listen, and when we listen, we can understand. To take a moment to think about what just happened. Next, we reflect, we notice what we're feeling, and we name it. Take a moment to think what you're feeling inside. I'm mad because I can't finish my part.
Don't.
I feel blamed. I didn't mean to use it all. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like both of you care about your work and your project. I think your both pictures are beautiful. Let's use the talking stick to work this out. The other stick has the blue. I feel upset because I need more blue for my part, and I thought you took it on purpose. And Sue, I just noticed it was empty. I'm sorry. Relay, listen to understand, not to win. Thank you both. How can we make this red again?
It's like blue.
Maybe we can mix a new color that looks like blue. Yeah, maybe I can ask if another group has extra bait. We restore by rebuilding trust through action. Oh, I like this color. This new color. It's even better than before. Yeah, we made something new even out of mistakes. That's what it means to redeem a moment, to turn a problem after something good. To redeem is to begin again with more kindness, patience, and care. At Mastery Academy, we learn that conflict isn't about who's right. It's about how we grow. When we regulate, reflect, and relate, restore, and redeem, we make peace, inside and out. Together, we grow strong roots and bright futures. You always pick your ideas, and no one else ever has to say. Because mine actually works. Yours would take too long. I'm hearing strong feeling, let's pause and regulate. And take deep breath. Let's bring out our talking stick. Whoever holds it, they can speak. I feel unheard when you decide for everybody. I just want the project to go well, but I guess I can take over sometimes. That awareness is powerful. How can we both redeem this moment? We can combine our ideas, half dance, half drama. Yeah, that actually would be awesome. See, when we redeem conflict, we don't just fix, we transform. All the students are developing identity and voice. Fairness becomes about listening and leadership. Redeeming means using honesty and humility to create something stronger together. At Master Tree Academy, we learn that peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the art of coming back together. When we regulate, reflect, relate, restore, and redeem, we grow wiser, kinder, and stronger.
All right. So we're running out of time now, guys. I realize I should have not even tried to talk. I should have just let the kids do the whole work here. Um, we are coming to an end, and I want to give you guys, the whole video and everything that we will, that we presented here for you and share it with you. There is one more thing, the talking stone that you had. Create a family ritual with